Me and him, baby. I ate some rancid saltine crackers from his pantry.
Yo, you gotta chill. You gotta chill with how you're painting my house right now.
No, it wasn't.
Unless you want to actually paint my house, you know?
We could do it.
Okay.
I'll wear white everything, dude. I'll look like the abominable snowman in that state.
You look like the villain from Ghostbusters.
Ooh. Once again, that's recording. You're recording. Are you ready? Your trademark and my trademark is welcome back to the Fully Lacking Podcast, episode 23. It's the MJ episode. You heard it. I am your host, Drew. This is your host and co-creator, Anthony. And behind the board, behind the camera, we'd be nothing without her. Producer Lisa, we are your Fully Lacking team. What's up, Papa? What are you doing, dude?
It's been an interesting week. We haven't seen each other, it feels like, for a while.
Yeah, the studio's been empty, dude.
Yeah.
Missed you.
Missed you too. Tiddlywinks.
Tiddlywinks.
I don't know. It seemed to describe the
came
moment.
to mind.
Yeah.
All right. So you've been okay?
I'm surviving.
Yeah.
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 I mean, it's been an interesting parenting week. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
I know. I always thought that show, Kids Say the Darndest Things, was just a stupid title.
Oh, no. What'd your son say?
But I realized that Aries says some darndest things sometimes.
Some darndest things, he says.
The most darndest.
Said the aggravated father. Okay. What was it?
So I think I was in the middle of like giving him a lecture on something.
Okay.
And I kid you not, he looked at me and said, "Oh, here's the counselor trying to talk to me about my feelings."
There's no way he did that.
100% he did that.
Whoa. What did you respond?
You know, I took a moment because I
wanted
wanted
to laugh?
I wanted to laugh. I wanted to be mad, but I responded in an empathetic way, you know? Do you think I'm too much of a counselor with you sometimes and not enough of a dad?
Let's try it out again. Let's I'll be Aries.
Okay.
You be the dad you think you are. And then let's do it. Okay. So start talking to me.
Okay. Hey, dude, like with our feelings, we gotta learn how
Here we go. The therapist wanting to talk about my feelings.
I hear you, dude. I hear you. Do you think I'm too much of a counselor with you sometimes?
And you weren't a counselor enough with my mom because we wouldn't have two separate Christmases. If you pause for divorce said it.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
It's staying in. It's staying in.
Let's go, baby. If you want to focus on counseling with mom, maybe we wouldn't be in this shithole of a house. No, it's a nice house. I'm just kidding. He has a great house. He's recently redecorated. We hung a TV. Me and him, baby. I ate some rancid saltine crackers from his pantry.
Yo, you gotta chill. You gotta chill with how you're painting my house right now.
No, it wasn't.
Unless you want to actually paint my house, you know?
We could do it.
Okay.
I'll wear white everything, dude. I'll look like the abominable snowman in that state.
You look like the villain from Ghostbusters.
Ooh. And just so everybody knows that's watching and possibly listening, I'm an obese, middle-aged male. I'm large.
And in charge.
Hey. But anyway, so where were we? Divorce?
That's part
two
one.
Christmases, shithole of a house. Okay, go ahead.
Look, let's clear something up right away.
Uh-huh.
I have an okay house. I have a decent, nice house.
You have a great house. You have a great house.
I have it decorated more than most people would anticipate for being a solo.
It's nice.
Close to 40 man.
Am I middle-aged or no?
You're like 1 year away from the like half a lifespan. Like your midlife crisis territory.
What's obese lifespan? Like 50s?
Tomorrow.
No.
You went to the doctor.
I went to the
People
doctor,
aren't going to believe that.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, I went to the doctor. But I want to talk about your great house.
I got a part 2.
Okay.
With my son Aries. You know, he's super selective with foods.
Are you still my dad or am I not pretending to be your son anymore? Pretend to be my dad real quick. Go ahead. Pretend to be my... That's what we do here at the Fully Lacking Podcast. We line each other up for dead dad jokes.
It took me a minute to catch on. Yeah, I talked to someone about those jokes, and it's like, how can you do that? So disrespectful.
What?
Like they've been dead for my dad's been dead for like 20 years. Like,
Dang. Mine's been 6.
yeah.
Mine's a little fresher. Our dads would probably laugh.
I can understand why people might feel that way. If you haven't been through it, you don't know what it takes to kind of deal with it.
agree.
So, and even people who have gone through it aren't going to do what we're doing. It's just me and you.
There's a large amount of people who deal with it through humor, and there's a large amount of people who don't.
Yeah.
You can't tell people how to mourn. Me and Saskatchewan, we kind of have a similar relationship. Like, for instance, tonight, we were at the house eating dinner. Saskatchewan said, "What about you, young man?" when addressing me to ask me a question. I just looked at him, and he's like, "Oh, what, we having a staring contest now?" That kid has no fear of me at all. None. Zero. I had an interesting week. I was riddled with stress and anxiety, but I got to hang out with my brother over the weekend. I watched the UFC fight. I think it was Noche. And it was at the Sphere in Las Vegas. They spent $20 million on production. It was like the most expensive production bill that UFC had ever had. They had a complete sellout, 16,000. They did 20 plus million at the gate. It was their highest profiting or highest grossing event they've ever done. They had the highest grossing merch that they had ever done. It was crazy. The co-main event and main event did not go the way I wanted them to go. Sugar Sean O'Malley lost to Marab, which was tough, but you found out the next day on his podcast that the ligaments that connect your hip, he doesn't have them. He has to go into surgery. And they were grilling Dana White in the press conference on Tuesday. Like, how do you not know your athletes' hips aren't attached to their legs properly? He's like, we don't. You can't know that unless you do like a deep scan. And if O'Malley's jumping around and like he's fine, like the doctors are going to say he's okay and he's going to pass his med exam. But that explained, and it's not taking anything away from his opponent that he lost to, but if you would have watched that fight versus other fights, it was just very different. And now it made sense. But it was cool because my brother got a new house, right? And his wife is this amazing woman who has a very exquisite taste in decor and stylings of a home. And so they bought, it was like a Victorian style home. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. And it's like a 2-story, like historical type looking house. It has the big, like grand outside and it has a front porch and everything. And I remember I told my brother, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to bed. I'll wake you up if the walls start bleeding." You know what I mean? Because, but it was funny because even in the room I stayed in their guest room, or my nephew's room, but he's in college. Shout out to you. There's like a pull down attic entrance. And I was like, bro, if you hear power tools in the middle of the night, it's because that thing opened and I'm boarding it. Okay. I don't know why.
The Babadook will come out.
You know that? Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah, it was great.
But he came up from the basement, remember?
Yeah.
That was crazy. I didn't like how it ended though. They just like kept him as a pet. Remember they were just feeding him things?
It's because it represented trauma.
Really?
Yeah. Where you have to kind of learn how to live with it rather than be scared of it. I thought it was a beautiful ending for that purpose.
I didn't understand that deepness. Yeah. That's cool.
Watch it again with that mindset.
I don't want to watch it. It's a scary movie. It scared me.
We can watch it together.
No, I don't want to.
All right.
This episode is sponsored by the incredible people at Caliber Collision. People, listen, Caliber Collision makes car accidents like they never happened. Car accidents, minor hail damage, minor collisions like it never happened, with a team of experts, right, who understand what you're going through and will get you back on the road safely and as quick as possible. Caliber Collision is restoring the rhythm of your life, baby. I will tell you that I'm very happy about one thing that's happened recently. Football's back. Maybe a little bit more reserved, but like also excited. Football's back. What the heck are you doing over there? Who's your team?
I'm a Chargers fan.
Chargers. What city do they reside in?
I'm in Los Angeles now.
Los Angeles Chargers. And they were?
San Diego.
San Diego Chargers. And before that, they were?
I don't have no idea.
Neither do I. My team has never changed. It's the Chicago Bears. We have the number 1 draft pick, Caleb Williams, who's looking like he's getting it back. He's getting into the swing of things. It's definitely a different pace of football that you play from collegiate to the pros. So
I don't know if he is getting in the swing of things.
his line just needs to stop being linguine, right? Like if they could stop being resting pasta, I think they'd be okay.
Whenever he was rushed out of the pocket, I think he kind of made some sporadic mistakes. And I get it, you're under pressure, but you got to, if you know your O-line's not holding up, you got to learn how to avoid
Maneuver
picks.
quicker.
Yeah.
I think the impressive thing about Caleb is his ability to scramble out, because we saw that. You were at the house and I was screaming at the TV, and I almost threw my remote at it. And you're like, nah, probably shouldn't do that to the TV. I'm a Bears fan, man, through and through. It's tough. It's tough because sports is like, it's like the everyday's guys and woman's way to like disconnect a little bit, you know, and also cheer for something. At least if you're not into like politics, right? But right now is the time for you guys. So if you're a diehard politician fan, you are getting a boatload of things to celebrate and argue about.
I almost kind of forget we're in that whole season, to be honest with you. But as far as football goes,
football. It was cool how you said it.
As far as the football goes, I haven't been following it as closely for a while.
Yeah.
But Aries chose the Chargers as his team just out of randomness. And so I was like, well, let me get back into it. I watched a couple games here and there. And
Saskatchewan, he chose the Cowboys. Very strange for me.
He started the papers to give him up for adoption?
Can't do it to him. I can't do it to him. It's not his fault. He's a child. I don't have anything against the Cowboys. I'm just not a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, that's fair.
I root for the Cowboys because I have some of their players on my fantasy league. I feel like the most, like, I don't know what you would call it. Like, all the attention is around the Super Bowl now. Like, this whole halftime fiasco and Kendrick Lamar getting booked to do the halftime show in New Orleans when Lil Wayne is like, I mean, he's the pinnacle of hip hop, especially in that area. And that's his hometown. I understand why it's Kendrick Lamar, but I also have a hard time thinking that Lil Wayne is not going to be a part of it. I feel like the most monumental thing is going to happen and Kendrick's going to bring Wayne out. And I think that was probably always what was going to happen. But everybody got a hold of it before those plans can unravel. I hope anyways, because Lil Wayne is a freaking GOAT. He is definitely one of the greatest of all time. And the thing that he did for music and the run he had for nearly a decade plus, like, come on, bro. The Carter 1, the Carter 2, the Carter 3, like even the Carter 4, all his mixtapes.
Yeah.
Every song he made on that run was like a ringtone for young kids. Everything.
Yeah, I have a theory.
All right, I want to hear it.
It wouldn't be a far-fetched theory, I don't believe.
Okay.
But, you know, Kendrick in the promotional video took shots at Drake.
Yep.
Said there's no second chances on the championship game or whatever. And, you know, because there's been rumors of a second round with that beef. And so he's saying, nah. And then there's a track that dropped, which kind of hinted at things, you know.
Oh, the Black Air Force one?
Yeah. You know what blew my mind? I didn't realize this. And we probably discussed it at one time. But the snippet on the beginning of Not Like Us for the video version is probably just a snippet of another diss track he has in the vault.
For sure.
And
that song is fire, by the way.
That sounds crazy.
And you know what's crazy is like Kendrick is, I think, leaps and bounds leading with his artsy side when he makes music, for sure. I don't know if there's ever going to be a Meek Drake moment with Kendrick and Drake. I don't know if they're ever going to have that.
No. And what I was going to say is I believe that Kendrick's going to bring Wayne out, not purely out of pitting Wayne on in his hometown, but also as a petty move against Drake. Hey, look, I'm bringing the guy who put you on out for the Super Bowl in his hometown, and you didn't do that.
I mean, would Wayne even go out with Kendrick?
I've seen like Wayne was wearing like the Weeknd's chain during the beef at one point. So like, and you know, the Weeknd that got pretty escalated.
That's a very Toronto thing, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's true.
But you know that was deeper than music.
Yeah, they were like shooting people's houses up and stuff. Yeah.
So I think he would. Wayne is probably one of the friendliest people in the music, like as far as rappers go. Like
he seems like a really nice dude.
He's just like super friendly and kind of out there. Yeah. So for him to be in the middle of this kind of sucks for him.
Yeah, it's weird. The whole situation is weird. I don't know how it ends, but I don't believe it'll end well. I mean, I don't know. It's music, right? So hopefully it stays that way, but I don't know. It'll be fun to watch. Kendrick's probably going to put on a great performance, but I think Lil Wayne was a better fit for the environment, in my opinion, for that specific show.
I mean, they highlighted a lot of the process, or what people believe is the process for selecting Super Bowl artists.
Yeah.
Like, did Jay-Z do it? Because I think like Rockefeller or whatever, not Rockefeller,
Rock Nation.
whatever Rock Nation is managing like the talent selection. And or does a city pick? I don't think it's very clear at this point. What's the most disrespectful part of this is fans saying Kendrick doesn't have any hits to play at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's,
that doesn't even
it's
make
egregious.
sense. He has a lot of hits.
Yeah.
I mean,
And Not Like Us isn't even his biggest hit.
I don't even know if his catalog, of course, doesn't compare to a Drake or a Wayne, right? But the guy is amazing.
To say he can't hold down like 5 or 6 songs at a Super Bowl performance is ridiculous.
And that you're not going to know every word.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think that it really is just like him versus them type thing. Like people who enjoy Kendrick and were with him through the Drake stuff, they want Kendrick, and the people who weren't are like, oh, Kendrick isn't. They're just picking sides, which is literally what the world has revolved around these days. So
for sure.
Whatever.
Hey, Drew.
Yeah.
How many times have you wished you could make it like it never happened?
Too many.
We're not talking about the mistakes in your life, unfortunately.
Oh, just the accidents?
Accidents. Because
Okay,
a caliber
okay.
collision, they can do that for car accidents, minor collisions, hail damage, all that stuff.
Okay.
They have a highly trained team of specialists and experts located throughout the New Mexico area that you can count on. They understand what you're going through and will get you back on the road safely and as quickly as possible. Because what their goal is restoring the rhythm of your life.
Little rhythm. A little shimmy shake, baby.
Caliber collisions.
Let's go.
You know what it takes, though?
Yeah.
A little bit of unity, especially around something like the 90s.
That was amazing, dude. I really like how you brought that together. Our next subject is the 90s. What do you mean? Say it again. What do you mean by that?
People who grew up in the 90s can collectively agree that the 90s were a renaissance era of pop culture and life. You know what I'm saying?
Like until we got to the 2000s, or you mean through the 2000s?
No, just maybe early 2000s.
The 90s were like Biggie, Pac, NSYNC, Eminem.
What trends did you buy into?
Well, in the 90s, I was born in 90.
Okay.
So I wore a lot of Starter. That was a big thing. I was obsessed with Bone Thugs and Harmony. I really liked MB Riders. You know what I mean? That might be a geographical thing, though. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah.
niche.
I'm trying to think what else.
What about like yo-yos?
Oh, yeah. The Yo-Yo Champion of Monaco Ball, 1998, baby.
That's right, huh?
I don't know if that's actually true. I might have just formed that ideology in my head, but I definitely was in yo-yo competitions at Monaco Ball as a kid.
Walk the dog.
Can do it
Cradle?
around the world. I could do the Eiffel Tower. I do a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
It's kind of a funny image.
Me
Thinking of you with
yo-yoing?
yo-yo. Yeah.
You know what's funnier? Me breakdancing.
Yeah.
That in the 90s too.
That's true.
Windmills, stalls on my neck because I could support my weight back then.
Yeah. Nerf guns?
Nerf guns are cool. Water fights. Did you ever play Heads Up 7-Up?
Yeah.
I would cheat because I would just look at the shoes. I know, like my head was down, but I could see the shoes.
I think it's everyone's tactic. You kind of just have your elbow a little bit off the desk to peek. Lisa,
Yeah.
did you ever get into Lisa Frank?
Absolutely. Had the folders. Everything.
Polly Pockets?
No, my sister did Polly Pockets, though.
Is your sister older than you?
She's younger.
Oh, okay.
She's like 96.
6.
Oh, wow. I didn't know they were still
You were
around.
88?
87. I got into yo-yos.
And you were 3 when I was born.
Yeah. I had a starter jacket too. Just one.
Our dads were alive in the 90s.
For sure.
It's a big one that we probably should hang on to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to you, Pops. Whatever.
Nintendo?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You remember GoldenEye? Remember Nintendo 64? When did Nintendo 64 come out? Well, do a little simple Google search there, producer Lisa.
I want to say like 94, 95 maybe.
Dude, Nintendo 64 was that John.
I never had one.
Zelda?
On NES?
Yeah.
You never had a Nintendo 64?
No, I never had a Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64. Actually, after The first Nintendo, I was mostly PlayStation.
But it was a while till
Yeah.
PlayStation
Yeah.
came out.
My cousin had a Super Nintendo.
Nintendo
And probably an
64 was
N64 too.
fire. Yeah, N64 was fire. When did it come out?
1996.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
perfect. Yeah,
close.
I had GoldenEye on that joint, and it was the gold. It was I think it was a gold game. I remember when you would have the colored games was cool.
I had the golden, like Link to the Past or Zelda one.
Zelda, yeah,
for the
I had
Nintendo.
that too. I'm trying to think what other games I played. Mario, of course. Mario was fire, every bit of it. I wonder when the PlayStation came out. You know can you figure out when the original PlayStation came out? I played the PlayStation. My mom, for some reason, my mom on Fridays would get like a 6 or 12 pack of Corona, and she'd bring me home a Slim Jim for the liquor store, and that's how I knew she liked me that time. And she would just like get a little wasted and play like Frogger. Frogger was her game. What?
1994.
The PlayStation came out in 94? Mm-hmm. Wow. Why does anybody ever talk about Dreamcast?
It was kind of a
GameCube?
rare. I mean, the Dreamcast was kind of a rare one because it got discontinued.
What about the GameCube?
GameCube, I'm sure. I never owned it. I played it.
My
I was
boy-
never big on Nintendo games. Like after that,
My boy Kevin, who's probably watching, good friend of mine. He had every system ever, like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. He had the GameCube. He had the PlayStation and the original Xbox, and like his house had the big screen TV with the speaker on the bottom of it, like the big speaker, all the mesh. Oh, dude, his house was like the spot. So that was pretty cool. I'm trying to think what else. We had a radio station up north called Kiss 97.3.
you ever call in for contests?
Yeah. The phrase that pays. Turn on your mic there, Lisa. The most hip hop and R&B is
My Kiss 97.3.
Hey, shout out to us. I won tickets once and a mixed CD.
Yeah, 97.3 was that station for kind of northern New Mexico, right? For like rap and hip hop and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing.
Did you have
Rap and hip hop.
I don't know if people would agree with you. Rap and hip hop.
If you're a purist, you probably wouldn't, but let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. Saved by the Bell?
Killer, bro. Loved it.
Who's your character?
I liked AC Slater. He was cool. Turn the seat around. Freaking sit there. So listen up, guys. Also, like that wasn't in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Bayside or whatever. Like,
Bayside High?
Yeah, that wasn't real.
High school was not like that for me.
No, Lisa was the first woman I ever fell in love with. Hey, look at that. Do you remember Lisa, like Screech's crush?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was the prettiest girl on that side of the Mississippi, or the Rio Grande.
Speaking of Power Rangers,
Power Rangers is a big hit. Do you remember like Rugrats and Rocket Power and Cartoon Network was huge. I'm trying to think. Ed, and Eddie, that was hilarious.
I never really got into
Crank Yankers.
Yeah.
Bruh, come on. Prank calling?
The Nickelodeon shows I never got into as much as other kids.
Rugrats was hilarious to me. And then they grew up and they made a rap song. It was pretty cool too.
Pokemon.
Pokemon. Lisa has a bunch of first edition Pokemon cards and they lost them.
Did you have a Charizard?
Like binder. Oh, dude, she had everything.
We gotta throw down.
I did, yeah, but my parents couldn't find it.
Dude, binder. Like a full, like a big, thick binder of all first edition Pokemon cards.
Oh, she was flexing out there in those
we
Pokemon
would have
streets.
been millionaires right now.
We still have those Beanie Babies.
Yeah, Lisa has a
Beanie
Beanie
Babies.
Babies. That's crazy.
You do look like a Beanie Baby collector.
Yeah, I was.
She has them. She has the Beanie Babies. She was a pretty cool kid. I don't know if there's anything. We're probably missing a ton of stuff. You remember those tops? And you would like fly up.
Kind of. I was thinking more like Pogs.
That's what they were called. Pogs.
Oh.
They're like the rubber things, and you'd push them, then it would.
I don't think we're talking about the same thing.
What's a pog?
So Pogs are like these little paper circles, and you'd have to like stack them.
Oh yeah, no.
And then you have a slammer, and it's kind of a metal circle. And you kind of like, if you're able to flip some Pogs over by throwing it at the pile or whatever, I'm probably butchering the game. But you get your friend's cards. So you kind of, it was pretty.
Were you poor?
I mean, this was a pretty popular. I don't know. I
No,
don't
I'm
like
not-
the
I'm not-
implication here.
No, I'm not. I'm
like
not
it's just
trying
a poor people's game.
No, I'm not trying to imply. I'm asking. Do you remember?
I feel like it doesn't do justice. And I feel like there's kids who are poor. Like, I don't know. I'm overthinking this one. What do you mean when you say that?
So like, what I meant by like poor is like my family was probably not like the most financially able, but we would figure out things to do. Like we were always outside playing, like doing like certain, like like our bikes, we'd put like beer cans on the tires to make them sound like motorcycles and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what else we would do.
What
like,
were
we
those
would
things
hang out.
that you put on the
Pegs. I think one of the most hilarious things that we would do is we'd hang out by an electrical box at this park, Alto Park. What's up, baby? Yeah, okay, stop. My people called me. They want to meet you.
I do too.
At the park.
Ready to get my stripes.
We'd hang out at this electrical box. We hung out in arroyos and like the sewer pipes and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know if like that was like a because we were kind of poor thing or just what kids did. I don't think that like my cousins were doing that stuff. So
we weren't supervised as much, to some
Yeah.
degree.
Streetlights were like a big thing for us.
Yeah. This conversation is making me feel super old.
You're a little old, but do you remember things that you would do as a kid that would probably annoy you if like Aries did now? Like things you're like, what are you talking about? Like I'm just blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I was a smart ass. I'm still a smart ass.
yeah, you are.
And all right,
No, it's fine.
it's fine.
Tolerate it.
Yeah. So I just didn't know how to keep my mouth shut.
What do you mean?
I always had something smart to say,
Yeah.
a quick comeback.
Your parents didn't hit you?
Yeah. It didn't stop me though.
Oof, they didn't hit you hard enough. I know. I stopped.
I remember like one specific joke that for some reason stands out in my head.
Okay.
I was washing dishes, and I guess my one of my parents wanted me to use hot water for rinsing. They were like, hot water cleans. And I was like, cold water rinses. And I just get this death stare. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think you're wrong.
I wasn't. But that's, like,
I would have to rinse with hot water too, though.
it's just wild.
Yeah. My mom had a dishwasher. It was a drying rack. I was the dishwasher.
Yeah.
A big thing in the 90s for me was wrestling. WCW. Me and my cousins would like do the moves. Like we would like freaking pile drive and like DDT.
Suplex.
Rock bottom and like all these things, choke slam. And we had like belts. Like we would hit each other with the belts. But like we wouldn't pretend to hit each other. So we'd always actually get injured, you know?
Yeah.
I remember the first time I found out it was scripted. Oh, I was heartbroken.
Like Santa Claus.
I think my dad may have taken us to like a backyard wrestling event or something.
It was just some
like a
family's
back room.
drunk reunion.
I was just like, hey, those guys aren't hitting each other at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The slaps were real. My mom worked with producer Lisa's mom. And one of the people she worked with, his name was Robin, and he was in the wrestling world. And him and his girlfriend or like his friend was also a wrestler. And so I remember one time I was like, is it real? She goes, I'll show you. And then he told her, he was like, slap me how we do it. Bro, smacked the dog spit out of this man. And I was like, oh, whoa, wow, what? That is real. I knew it was real. So I don't know. It was a lot of like, wrestling was cool for me, for sure. Wrestling was like the ish.
Who's your favorite wrestler?
Goldberg, John Cena. John Cena was pretty cool, but Bill Goldberg was my dad's favorite wrestler too.
He's like universally kind of like not liked now.
Why?
Because he was kind of like a jerk and his ego was inflated. They don't believe he was a very technical wrestler. Like he has like a lot of dirt on his name these days. Sometimes I come across like Facebook wrestling clips and read the comments and
He just wasn't good.
yeah, and the people aren't really appreciating.
He sold it to me. He was
Oh,
awesome.
it was exciting.
And he'd walk through the sparks and he'd be all blowing smoke out. Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess getting back on topic a little bit, for you, I guess you being mouthy is kind of what Aries may be doing now that kind of annoys you. For me, it was like standing on business, like as a kid. And like, I thought it was perfectly fine. But now when, Saskatchewan does it, I'm like, come on, dude. Stop. Because I want to throw you right now. And I can't. Well, somebody would have told like my parents that. Like,
You can and just call it wrestling.
we were wrestling. Did I ever tell you the story about him and the doctor visit?
Yeah.
Did I say it on the podcast? Though?
You did.
That'll forever be in my like Rolodex of like, what the heck were you thinking, kid?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think him standing on business is like something that I would do as a kid that I thought was like good. And then like now is like kind of like, ugh, stop, dude. I'm telling you to do this. Like, don't jump off the roof. He's like, who let me on here anyway? Whatever, dude. You were inside. You weren't paying attention. What? Who taught you how to open the garage? You. My bad.
With understanding ourselves, we've opened up our tolerance to a lot of the old things, right? Like knowing the ADHD, because without knowing that, you can really just chalk up a lot of behaviors to like being a jerk or inconsiderate or rude or all the other names you get called growing up.
You know what is weird though for me is like I promised myself that my fears were real as a child, like the things that I was scared of and I didn't want to sleep in my room because of. And Saskatchewan is like dealing with those right now. And it is hard. It is hard to deal with it because they're all real to them. Those fears are real to them. And obviously the majority of them are not real at all. But it's like, it takes a lot of patience and understanding for sure. Like Saskatchewan is scared of a lot, like of rain. He's scared of rain, dude. Because he once got caught in like a rainstorm. So now he's
didn't like that
terrified.
experience at all.
But I'm learning that he's doing like this self-coping stuff. Like he will talk himself out of being scared. Like we were driving in the rain the other day and he was like, oh, Dad, look. All you got to do is get to those blue clouds in the distance and then we're out of this stuff. We can do it.
It's reassuring himself.
Yeah, he like calms himself down. You know what I mean? Like self-soothing. And so that's kind of cool because I didn't know how to do that at all. I'd just be terrified in my room.
Hey, Lisa, you have any stuff from childhood that fits this category of things we're discussing?
I think the only thing that pops out in my mind is that I used to have to go to bed with my boombox really, really loud.
I like how you call it a boombox.
That's what it was.
And that's a 90s thing for sure. I can picture it in my head.
Yeah, it had like the thing with the CDs and then the two speakers on the side.
My sister had the blue one that NSYNC made cool. The blue one with like it was like a tube box.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had one of those. The ones that had a strap on.
Mine didn't have a strap.
So your boombox was loud at night. Oh yeah, he does do that stuff. He has to have like something on, which is weird because Lisa always makes me turn down everything. I'm like, dude, the kid is like in there partying right now. We're okay. What I do know is that there's one thing that's very important for us. There's one thing that's very important for us, and I need you to really send this home here. It's our social media, bro. It's our social media.
Social media includes Facebook at Fully Lacking, Instagram at Fully Lacking, TikToker at Fully Lacking, YouTube, I think it's also at Fully Lacking.
Yeah.
We're keeping it going, episode after episode each week. Keeping the laughs going with Lisa over here.
Wheezy.
Just little Wheezy over here.
Wheezy,
she should be performing at New Orleans. How Wheezy she gets.
Wheezy F baby. Please bring my inhaler.
But follow us, like us, comment, share, subscribe, all of those good things.
Put the bell, like the videos, comment on stuff, dude.
Hate on us, you know?
You could talk about how large I am.
Yeah.
I'll only cry for a little bit.
You could talk about my extra medium shirt sometimes too.
He looks good, dude.
I appreciate that.
At least one person that likes it.
Are you ready? You ready for this?
I'm ready, baby.
Boom.
Fully
Fully
lacking.
lacking.
Peace.